I randomly seem to have undergone a complete transformation of my head by doing a tiny little adjustment with my life. I ordered spicy chicken. And so, also, I have ordered cheddar chipotle. What does that have to do with free will? Well, ironically, the fascinating thing about how free will works is that there are a lot of things that can be like just random bits of like action and stuff that really doesn't change too much about the reality or whatever that it happens and what it is that you do versus whatever that you would have done elsewhere also, and what you'll do next. For example, the jiggles really doesn't do too much except for it happened, and you might have an opinion about it. It might even, for some people, have it stick in their brain constantly, forever. Why the fuck did that happen? But also, um, it could simply go completely unnoticed, as my entire channel has been for the past 12 years. Oh wait, it wasn't unnoticed. I accelerated and then I died. So, what's happened since I've had the spicy chicken? These are the last 3 of 9 spicy chicken pieces I had, and so the bacon has gone bad because I didn't eat it, and so it's in the compost thing down there. The chicken has not gone bad yet because it's still good. I've had a headache today. I've had extra senses or extra sensitivity to smell. All sorts of different smells have reset their like receptors or whatever. So I smell all sorts of things happening in my apartment, and that could actually be causing whatever it is, or the opposite direction. Whereas a smell or something, some kind, like the body is like, I feel sick because I have a headache. It's a bit warm, but not actually warm. And it's like trying to do something, but there's like not enough to really it's like something is off, and so my body is like alert as to what it is that's around me. Like I can smell the stuff that's in the sink. Finally, I'm not nose blind to it, and I could smell like smoke that was like just from somebody visiting for like 2 seconds outside of my apartment, but I smell it as if I'm coated with it, like it's surrounding me and it's totally new and it's totally offending me, and it's something that's like, ah, I am here, and my head just hurts. Mostly here, mostly right in the front. And I've done a lot of frontal cortex. I've talked about it, and it's hurt my head trying to play this game, and then I stopped playing it, and things, and you gotta wonder, like, taking these pills, I chose to take them randomly, and then I noticed when I opened the thing, I can smell every one of them. What are they? They're like omega-3 fatty acids and some other fucking vitamins and minerals. I don't know, actually. You would think you'd want to know what's in your shit, but I don't most people never pay attention to what's in their shit. Anyway, so stuff like an individual, whatever else, you wonder how much of the everything of the, if you could, um, is like, there's a free will camp and then there's the NPC camp. And the thing that I said to Kurzgesagt was, if we aren't free will, then we are a system that is capable of regulating itself. So we're capable of advancement. Now, eventually, we're going to get to the point where advancement has all sorts of information about what it needs and what it's supposed to be doing to make the future better, obviously. Supposedly. Like, one thing I heard about, which was really cool, was where they had a lot of water on a mountain or whatever, and they would flow it down to a lower basin so that the water would go through turbines. I mean, you could have, literally, if you have gravity, you could have, depending on how far the water flows and the power of the water, like, there's no reason you can't have the same water flow a bunch of turbines instead, like a lot of have a lot of force behind it and whatever, and then keep on, you know, and then keep on moving, again, fast, and repeatedly getting more and more power out of the same water flow, right? And then you just flow it all back to the top with a single force, and then suddenly you have infinite power. Like, what the fuck? Gravity? Gravity is the infinite source of power? I mean, it's a great battery system. It's like how I just saw a video about Florence saying that they dug a bunch of holes in order to have rainwater flow into it, and then they have, like, pure rainwater, gutter rainwater. It's still not great. You still have to do more treatment for that. It sounds gross, but it's like, versus they're surrounded by seawater, so there's that, and whatever. And what I've done is I have taken out my cream cheese to try to think that I'm going to add it to the spicy food, and I don't want to do that. I'll save the cheese for later. But it's like, I think if free will doesn't even exist, then we're still a system made out of rules and systems, so we know how to adjust ourselves and correct ourselves. So free will, or pseudo free will, does exist. Meaning, technically, if free will doesn't exist, it means that, like, people who are criminals are not responsible for anything that they did, if that is the case. If free will doesn't exist, then they were made, developed, grown, and the only reason they became what they were was because of reality shaping them the way they are. Like, simple example, no one would ever kill someone in self-defense unless they have, or injure someone or anything in self-defense unless they had to, but also there are other factors, because some people would just give up, or some people would plead, or whatever, or they'd run away or something, or they'd find someone else to fight for them. and then deterrence work. So, like, the whole idea of being able to fight for your protection, whatever else, and stuff, is like allowing people to have this idea of what they can do, blah, blah, blah. Like, I've had stuff to drink. I don't think I've drank anything that's old, that's bad. Like I said, I threw out the bacon because it was bad. Like, everything else should be, I don't know what it is. And I showered recently, so it's not muscle tension. Unless I have more muscle tension than I expected. Or register. It still feels messed up. And I slept enough, sort of, but not really. My body is like alert. So like I woke up a bunch of times at night. I end up wondering, like what all affects these things. No, I didn't touch the spicy food and then touch my eyes. That's not what happened. That hasn't happened yet. So I would say free will definitely exists even if it doesn't exist. Is that crazy or not? Like, the emergence free will, the unfortunate side effect of that is, like, even either way, we are able to affect each other and everyone. So, when you say you can't have the Ten Commandments in schools, what you're really saying is that you don't want people to be forced to be aware of the concept of caring for each other and the general idea boiled down to love each other. Not as much as you love yourself. Jesus was stupid when he said that. Don't love each other as much as you love yourself. Just love each other. You should love yourself. I don't give a shit what you do about your God. But I mean, some people believe in RN Jesus, the random number Jesus, and they believe that chance, although it can be, like, ironically, when it comes to stuff that's funny, for some reason chance wants to make things happen. And it's like the roll of a dice, virtual or otherwise, ends up happening to make something fun happen, and it's like crazy. Of course, a lot of those situations are probably that if you roll big or if you roll small, and over time, eventually, you will roll big on something that's important enough that you will have those amazing moments. So they praise RN Jesus. And I don't believe in random. And also, quantum effects are not random. They're just not, well... Quantum effects are impossible, or subquantum effects like the energies that go around in the soup of the ether everywhere. These little bits and bobs that happen are stuff we can't. It's stuff that's moving around and it's smaller than particles, and when they collide, they make virtual particles. Or it's not when they collide, but it's when they crisscross, when they intersect. Then a component of one thing that was going in one direction and a component of the one thing going the other direction then meets somewhere, and so you have a bunch of these virtual particles everywhere based on interactions on a beyond subatomic level. So that happens, and it is based on an energy, stuff, and substance that's fluctuating in all directions. There's just stuff moving all over the place. And people wonder about dark matter, but dark matter does not exist. But they also believe time dilation is this thing. It doesn't. It isn't. I'm waiting for scientists to get on my level. And it's amazing what they've accomplished without my information, but like, please stop believing in time dilation. It is fake. It is a simple, like it. What they do is they record all sorts of these different reactions, but for some reason they're still calling it time dilation, but it's not. It's dumb. They should know better, but they don't. They don't. I have been I've been bothered about the idea and of like even with the information that I have, it like I okay, time dilation doesn't exist. That's one tiny part of reality, and only one small sector of everything is managed by that. So it's not a very important piece. It's basically like the information about krill. No one's gonna bat an eye about it. It's like, oh, this person really knows how crabs work. This person really knows how snowflakes work. All this other stuff. So why am I why am I so sure time dilation doesn't exist? Because it doesn't. Because I've done the measurements or I've checked their measurements versus the phenomenon that actually is taking place in these experiments. And it's like so freaking simple in my brain because of that. And I want people to understand it. At the same time, I like don't care if they come to the conclusion with me as part of the what they listened to, what they thought about to figure it out. I just wanted to figure it out and start saying the right things. Like, grow the fuck up, forehead. It's not time dilation. Stop living in the sci-fi fantasy that can exist, because time dilation makes it so that we would waste a bunch of time trying to figure out how to manipulate time. When, because that can't and doesn't work that way, like literally true time dilation is that not only clocks but also your physical processes and all of that, so someone should end up becoming not as old the faster they go. Like, the faster you go, you'll end up being not, you'll be younger than someone who's just standing still. That doesn't work. The way I see reality is that because light doesn't give a crap about a lot of things and just moves at a regular speed, so unless something else is affecting it, the only thing that can change is the distance it's traveling. That changes the speed of, that changes the length of time between light pulses, right? Or something. But you can have like a brightness meter and you can tell about Doppler effects and stuff. You can tell about how it's compressed, how it expands and spreads out and becomes dimmer. You can know how light changes in its form, and then also know if there should be an adjustment to your ticking of the clock if your ticking of the clock is based off of a light system. Because the faster you go, the more spread out light is. If you're the source, you know. The thing about free will is that emergent properties and all of that, and a lot of things can make a lot of reactions. And a lot of what happens with like someone like me or someone like you just sitting there on the couch doing whatever doesn't affect the next person's day to day. And won't even, a lot of, like a million choices, and only a few of them will even affect another person, and it might only affect them vaguely. And then you might have some effects that are more vast. So you wonder about, oh, this one person is defined by the shooting that they did over at Columbine or whatever the fuck. Or they found, they discovered the Higgs boson or something. Right? It's just one thing. The rest of their life isn't recognized as anything significant. It's just what led to what this is. But the rest of it, a lot of that can be whatever, and it will still lead to them figuring out the big Higgs boson, the Biggs boson. Um, so you end up with this thing about cause and effect, and reality is, in order to see a better future or whatever else, we can make things be better. We can innovate. We can design things better. That doesn't change whether or not we have free will. So just keep moving forward. Anyway.